Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating crypto theory, one that suggests the future of XRP isn't being left to chance, but that it's all part of a meticulous plan. So, let's get right into it.
So where does this whole thing come from? Well, it all kicks off with one simple question. Asked to an analyst people called Jake. Someone in a public forum just put it to him straight. Do you know the XRP timeline? Do you know something you can't share? I mean, that's pretty direct, basically asking if there's a secret roadmap out there. And this, right here, is where the theory really catches fire. Because the analyst, Jake, he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, he just smiled. Now, according to the source material, this wasn't just any smile. It was seen as a look of total confidence, the kind that says, oh, I know exactly where this is going, but you're not ready for it yet. And for the people who believe in this theory, that smile was all the confirmation they needed. All right, so let's unpack this. What exactly is this secret timeline? Well, the theory goes that the signs are all around us, happening right now, but they're hidden in plain sight. Kind of like how ancient emperors had those keepers of time who would give them advice through subtle clues.
Okay, so the very first major sign, the public supply of XRP is apparently shrinking. Not because of market hype, but because of mechanics. The source points to stuff like fewer wallets on exchanges and way more activity on over-the-counter desks, where the big players make private deals. The whole point is, this is supposedly by design, not by accident.
That leads to the obvious question, right? If the supply is shrinking, where's it all going? And that's the next big piece of the puzzle. The theory argues that it's being quietly bought up by some really powerful institutions, and they're not buying it to flip for a quick buck. They're supposedly holding it for a very specific long-term reason.
And here's where the theory makes its boldest claim. It suggests that the U.S. government, working with partners like BlackRock and even the Treasury, might already have its hands on a massive stash of XRP. The goal isn't to trade it, but to use it as a strategic asset, something to shore up the country's entire balance sheet.
To really get what this strategy is about, the source uses this really powerful historical analogy. Think about it. When ancient Rome was in economic trouble, they didn't just sell off their valuable land. That would be giving up power. No, they use it as security, as collateral, to back themselves up and restore confidence.
So this word, collateral, is absolutely key to understanding the entire theory. The big idea here is that XRP wouldn't be dumped on the market for you and me to buy. Instead, it would be used behind the scenes to back up national debt, basically stabilizing the whole financial system without firing up the money printers again. Okay, buckle up, because this next part is where the theory gets, well, pretty wild. It's all about how the price is supposed to change. And according to the source, it has almost nothing to do with us, the retail investors, driving up the price. It's about a revaluation that is literally built into the system's DNA. So you've basically got two completely different games being played at the same time. On one side, you have retail folks like us, right? We're looking at price charts, we're following the hype, maybe hoping to sell for a nice little gain. But on the other side, the institutions, they're playing a whole different sport. They're focused on the system's architecture, global liquidity, and national strategy. So how does the price move if it's not about trading? Well, here's the key analogy they use to make it all click. Imagine water flowing through a pipe. If you make that pipe narrower, the water pressure has to increase, right? The theory says XRP is the same. As the available supply, the pipe, gets smaller, and institutional demand for liquidity, the water, gets stronger, the price has to rise automatically to meet that pressure. It's presented as financial physics. Okay, let's just quickly recap those 3 steps to make sure it's crystal clear. First, the public supply gets squeezed. That's the passage narrowing. Second, demand from big institutions skyrockets. That's the pressure building. And third, the price doesn't just climb, it automatically revalues itself to whatever level the system needs. The water level rises. And all of this leads to the number, the price target that makes everyone stop and listen. According to the theory's calculations, for XRP to actually work as collateral for trillions in national debt, its value would need to be somewhere in the thousands. The source argues this isn't some wild guess, it's a functional price based on math. So, you might be asking, what could possibly set something this dramatic in motion? Well, the theory says it's not just one thing. It's a whole series of major global events all converging at once, like a perfectly arranged line of dominoes just waiting for a push.
The source says, hey, look around. These aren't just random events. You've got the BRICS nations announcing their own digital currencies, central banks all over the world launching their CBDC pilots, regulations in the West suddenly starting to align. It's all seen as part of a coordinated global pivot.
And there's a name for this moment, this point of no return when everything just clicks into place. The source calls it the mandate of heaven. It's that perfect storm where the timing, the planning, and world events all align so perfectly that the change just becomes inevitable. And that brings us to the theory's final chapter, which is really framed as a serious warning. The argument is that this period we're in right now, this is the quiet. This is the calm before a massive financial storm. To paint a picture of what this moment could feel like for the average person, the source uses this really chilling metaphor. Imagine a crowded theater when the fire alarm goes off. If the system is designed to give institutions the first and only exit, what happens to everyone else? It's a mad dash for a single tiny door. So in the end, the theory says it all boils down to two groups of people. You have the prepared, the ones who supposedly see the architecture for what it is and use this quiet time to get ready. And then you have the unprepared, the ones just following the day-to-day hype, who will wake up one morning, panic, and find themselves left behind. So there you have it. That's the XRP timeline theory, from start to finish. It's a complex, detailed narrative of a pre-planned financial reset, and it leaves us all with one massive question. Are we looking at a leaked blueprint for the future, or is this just a really compelling story, built on signs, smiles, and a whole lot of belief? That's for you to decide.